Hi.
Hi, Jessica Rose.
Hi. How are you doing?
Jessica Rose is stressed right now. So just for anybody listening to this, good morning.
Good morning.
And Jessica Rose is stressed. We're recording this before we're having our pastry box event. And we're having a good discussion. It's the first time we have done this here. It's a big learning.
Kinda, yeah.
Like this.
I guess like this, yes. Yeah.
So your stress level's like what, a 12 out of 10? Or like a 17?
I think this
or
morning,
you're like
if
7?
you would ask me, I was like tweaking out. But
okay.
Now I think
you're back.
Yeah. Well, because now I'm like on top of it all.
Okay.
Again, you know what I mean? Like, I think everything is
Did you stay for the ad event yesterday?
No. I went straight home.
Oh, okay.
I was like...
You're like, I'm done. Okay, what are we doing this week?
So this week...
All right, Monday, I'm going to Fox. I love going to Fox. Have I ever told you this? I love going to Fox. One, it scares me a little bit because I'm like...
You're always so good on it, though.
No, well, I get scared because I sit outside and then I'm like, if I was a crazy left-wing person, I would this place right now, and I always get nervous going into it.
No one will ever do that.
And then the makeup people at Fox are just the absolute best, like the best of the best of the best. Daniela, my old assistant, who's awesome, she started her career in the makeup department at Fox. Really? And the Fox makeup people do miracle work. And then it's just fun to be on TV.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Tiara to Fox, and then I got to find a place to meet with Suhan. I'm also getting my earwax cleaned. That's the Alex ENT. Do you have earwax?
I do. I actually really like that.
I have small ear canals, so I make an appointment every 6 months, or actually every 3 months.
I had to get it irrigated a few times.
Yeah, it hurts. I hate that thing. Horrible. It's actually the worst thing ever, but it feels so good, and you hear so much better when it's done.
It makes flying really... Do you like... When you fly, does it like bother the hell out of you?
No, but
that's
sometimes,
why I don't like flying.
This is TMI, and everyone who listens or watches this is going to think I'm gross. But sometimes if it just builds up, I have little ear canals, and then I have sticky earwax, and then it just like gets a little shut, and then I can't hear what people are saying, and it's frustrating. I actually should live like that. I should just live like that and be like, la, la,
You're
la,
like,
la,
I don't want to hear anybody.
Tired of people fucking bitching at me and asking me for a head count, which if there's anyone who works here who listens to this, don't ask me for a head count. Literally had a freak out last night about that.
Oh, no.
I had an email that I sent at 9:09 p.m. and the first thing I said in it was rant, :
Oh, God. All right. Well, Tuesday.
So be happy you didn't get that. Okay, so I'm meeting with somebody. I don't know who
Tuesday,
this is.
they're I believe.
Creator?
Let me double check. Let's see.
Oh, shit. We got to talk about Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We got to talk about Tuesday. Then you have the
exec meeting.
Wait, is Tuesday the 30th?
Yes. No, it's the 29th.
29th, yes.
The Wednesday is the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I got to get organized. All right, I have an exec meeting that day. Bonnie Jarrett, one of my favorite people. Do you want to hear about Bonnie Jarrett?
Go for it.
Okay, so Bonnie Jarrett is, I probably shouldn't be saying this on this, but I love Bonnie Jarrett. So Bonnie Jarrett used to work at a big fancy law firm. And the big fancy law firm was retained by a board I was on. And Bonnie Jarrett was the point of contact at the big fancy law firm. And the board I was on, there's a lot of problems, like epic, terrible, dirty, terrible problems.
Oh, Lord.
And Bonnie Jarrett was like the voice of doom. So like I would see Bonnie Jarrett's number in my phone come up and I'd be like, fuck, like shit, no, like what is it? So anyways, spent a lot of time and a lot of uncomfortable conversations with Bonnie Jarrett. But she's lovely and she's a badass and she's sharp and she's scrappy and she's like worked in the government and like she's just a great lawyer, and she left. She's decided to make a career change, and we should really ask her if I should talk about this before we do this. And I'm just such a fan of hers that I'm like, I still, when I see her number pop up, she called me on a Sunday like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, but now I'm like, you want to come work here? What do you want to do? Like, so anyways, that's Bonnie Jarrett. Then I got this book, The Hype Woman, where we're going to talk to the Hype Woman.
Yep. So that's coming out like, I don't even know, in a couple months.
Oh, it's far out?
That interview is like gonna be,
I think, with the book of the launch.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think it's in like October or September or
Great.
something.
Then I'm staying in New York City, and I have a big meeting.
Big super secret meeting all day.
Yep.
And then you are meeting.
Oh, then I'm meeting a creator. That's fun.
You're meeting with a creator the next day. You have your vice board meeting. You have a Substack call.
Whose phone is going crazy right now? Jesus.
Somebody, I think the balloons are here for yeah. So we'll rock it through the rest of this. Okay. So
what am I doing with Substack?
I think it's just a follow-up to your other conversation.
Great. Oh, tech roadmap. That's going to be a knockdown, drag out.
Then you have the tech roadmap, and then you have your monthly WLAG on Friday. And that's kind of the week so far. We can adjust as need be, but...
I think that's going to be what it is. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Okay, welcome back to work. I'm Erika. We talk about work here and all sorts of other random things that you may or may not care about. We're going to open up this episode. We always open it up with tips and tricks. And then I always think about, I don't have any tips and tricks, but I do have a lot of things that I'm thinking about. So what I'm thinking about today is I just got off this. We have a monthly virtual Work Like a Girl office hours, drop in and talk about stuff. And one of the things we were talking about today is, I think, really important, and it's something I'm also struggling with, is I think there's two things. One is, I think it's really easy to measure yourself by an old yardstick that you had for yourself. Like, I think it's really hard when you are wishing you were thinner or stronger or, you know, making less mistakes or more successful or had better work-life balance or, you know, more time in your day to do things you wanted, or you were a better parent or a better partner or whatever. I think it's really easy to look back at a time when you were really good at that thing. And like for me, I was thinking about it last weekend, like my body, I have so much stress right now. My body is like crumbling. Like I have carpal tunnel, my shoulder doesn't work. Like I can't even like put my bra on and off, which is TMI. Actually, I bet Evelyn and Bobby has a solution for this. Like I gotta ask Brie about that. The self-putting on bra would be amazing for women. But, and then every time I go to work out, I remember like, oh, I used to be able to run like 6 miles at a stretch, and I worked out all the time, and I was like a grasshopper, and I could run around, and I weighed 15 less pounds than I weigh now or whatever. And it's almost like I'm defeated before I start, because I'm holding myself to a person I was a long time ago, or a way that I was shaped a long time ago, or a way that my body felt or my mind felt. And the reality is like your old yardstick isn't how you shouldn't use that to hang over you for where you are now. And I think a lot of times, like I think this is true for women after they've had a baby, which is they expect their life to go back and be able to do all the things they did before they had a baby or before they had those type of responsibilities, or maybe you have an aging parent, or maybe you have a lot of pressure outside of work and you're like still holding yourself to the thing you used to be able to do so well. And I think it's really important to let that go and kind of set a new place and a new norm for where you are now. And I think the same is true at work. Like you maybe had a job where you had a great relationship with your boss. And so you come into your new job with an expectation that you're going to have the same great relationship with your boss. And you're almost down on yourself and defeating yourself before you even give yourself a chance to win the current situation. And I'm thinking about that a lot, and my advice or my tip and trick on it is to really be cognizant of where and when you're defeating yourself at work, in your relationships, at life, in your health, with your fitness, whatever, because you're holding yourself to a standard that should no longer apply. So that's my tip and trick for the week.
Now work.
All right, let's do current events. So we're going to start with the rat people. So the rat people are Gen Zers in China. So there's a whole bunch of Gen Z people in China. They're probably like relishing in their Labubus and other bag charms. But they've decided to call themselves the rat people because they just take to their beds all day. They stay in bed all day. They are in a rebellion against burnout. Which is really funny, I think. I had a conversation with my son. My son is at nerd camp this summer and absolutely fucking hates it. And has never called nor texted me as much, nor said I love you as much, which is just an indication of how miserable he is. So I talked to him this morning at like 6:45 a.m. and he was like, oh, I had to get up. I went to the gym at 6 o'clock. I have classes all day. I've got 4 hours of homework. I'm just so burnt out. I'm just so burnt out. And I was like, dude, you're killing me. You're not even in 9th grade and you're burnt out. Like, try working 70 hours a week and having stress and paying for your entire lifestyle and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, but you're not about to be a high school freshman. I was like, you're right. You're right. But anyways, I think burnout culture is a funny thing where the people crying burnout actually have very, very little comprehension of what burnout is. And even people in white collar jobs or me or, people who are professionals really can't complain that much about burnout. So I think this whole notion of burnout culture is, to me, it's interesting. I think it's funny. I think it's obviously deeply disturbing. I think that there's a rebellion against it is kind of funny because I'm not exactly sure what you're rebelling against besides exertion and effort, and those are funny things to rebel against. But I think there is something about this generation and the generations that come after it where there are so many gifts, there have so many attributes, but they are quitting before they begin, and they're making it like a political statement. And I actually think it's going to create an interesting dynamic because the Gen Xers and whoever these people's parents are, I think they're probably like Gen X or whatever comes before me, are going to end up having to fund and care for them forever. Like, that's what's going to happen. And I don't know. I think that's interesting. I think that's actually going to be a big thing, which is the Gen Xer. Who raises Gen Z? Who do Gen Zs come from?
That would be boomers, right?
No, wait. No, I'm boomers.
Gen
am I boomer?
No. Gen X.
They're Gen X, right? Yeah, I'm at the end of Gen X. So,
Gen X.
It's funny because when you look at the distribution of wealth or you think about like all the stuff Rashad was talking about, like it's going to be women who have all the money. It's going to be boomers who have all the capital. And it's probably going to be early Gen X as part of that. They're just going to end up having their kids live at home and raising and caring for their kids for the kids' entire life. That's sad.
That is sad, and it's very Eastern, like parenting and like lifestyle. Like I come from like India, right? And like India, people live with their families. Multi-generational.
That's interesting.
Family.
So maybe it's like a return actually to that.
A little bit, yeah. Where it's like the top of the house, whoever the top of the house, household,
like the patriarch or the matriarch,
matriarch, it's like trickle down from them. You're still living with your parents, you're still living with them, and it's a family business or of sorts. Like
maybe we're getting back to like that type of community where it's family, community, multiple generations. That's actually not a bad thing when you think about it. There's
in that terms,
real value to it.
Because you're not as isolated anymore, and you're not away from your family as much.
Yeah.
Which in that ways it's good, but then the personal identity wise,
it's hard for your identity. It's hard for your personal development and exploration. Like if you're taking to your bed as a rebellion against burnout, you're not experiencing that much. Mm-hmm. I actually would wonder if I said this to my son, where I was like, would you rather be at home? We had played a mega game of Would You Rather. I was like, would you rather be home without a phone and like no internet or at nerd camp? And he was like, I guess I'll stick it out. I was like, okay.
The funny thing to me is like, I don't even think I knew the term burnout as a freshman high school kid or like middle school kid. Like the fact that like he brought up.
It's funny that it's like a vernacular. I know it's interesting, but burnout is a thing. I think you guys, Jessica Rose, you think about burnout. I think you guys think about burnout. My generation, like you wouldn't.
Like a couple years ago, like it came into I didn't think about it until I think 2023. That's when like the term came into my like world of being like, oh, like, okay, yeah, I'm working a lot. I'm like constantly working. I'm night, day, whatever it is. I'm just editing, shooting, and trying to make something out of it. And then like this term burnout came, and then I was like, Oh, like the tiredness I feel, is it burnout or is it just exhaustion? Like I think there's a difference.
You're like, I'm busy and tired. So I agree. Maybe that should be our strategery word today is burnout.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back to burnout. All right, so our next current event is, I loved this one. Okay, so I was big in quoting Elon Musk stuff this morning, which is oddly disturbing, but whatever, here we are. So Elon Musk has dropped a new email to the Tesla people. Did you see that Linda Yaccarino quit X? So the CEO of X resigned, which is kind of interesting. That was kind of like a tumultuous period. She was a very big deal, very well regarded in the ad industry, went to go run Twitter at the time, started working for Musk. Musk was like, fuck you advertisers. And basically her job was to woo advertisers. I have to imagine that was a very, very difficult marriage. But anyway, so in this case, Elon Musk sent an email out to Tesla employees that the subject line read, to be super clear, everyone at Tesla is required to spend a minimum of 40 hours in the office per week. Moreover, the office must be where your actual colleagues are located, not some remote pseudo office. If you don't show up, we'll assume you've resigned. This is very Doge-ish. The more senior you are, the more visible must be your presence. This is why I lived in the factory so much, that those on the front line could see me working alongside them. If I had not done that, Tesla would long ago have gone bankrupt. I think this is a super interesting piece. I actually been thinking a lot about this. I was reading something else where it was describing all the mistakes companies make by bringing in consultants. It was talking about, I forget the company, but it was talking about a company that brought in Deloitte, and then it brought in Price Waterhouse, and then it brought in McKinsey, and then it brought in like all these consultants, and it really didn't get the business anywhere. And the reality is you have to fix a company from within, and you have to fix a company at the foundation. And this point I agree with wholeheartedly is like, you got to walk the factory floor, you got to fix the factory. And I always am like, I've got to get better at that. So anyways, so he goes on to say, there are, of course, companies that don't require this, but when was the last time they shipped a great new product? It's been a while. He's so sarcastic. Tesla has and will create and actually manufacture the most exciting and meaningful products of any company on earth. This will not happen by phoning it in. So I thought that was, I'm sure there was a huge amount of backlash on that, but this is definitely old school. This is definitely harsh, but you can't fault him for the passion and I think being direct. It was interesting. I read this morning, Sherwin-Williams, the paint company, has insisted that everybody's back to office 5 days a week. And obviously you're seeing this thing happen now where companies that want to innovate, companies that want to grow, companies that want to evolve are insisting on people being in office. You're seeing a huge backlash of like, fuck these people, I don't want to work there. And then you hear about the job market where it's getting so hard to get a job, and there's going to be this whole crash of all those things together. People in bed rebelling against burnout, CEOs insisting that you get your ass back to the office. I hate my job. I think every employee is going to hate their job. Like, I think all employee surveys are just going to be dumpster fires from here on out because you're seeing all these things, plus a tight economy, plus a lot of consumer uncertainty, plus a pending recession, and it's just tough. Okay, so our next topic is from Impact, which is a brand I follow on Instagram, and they have released a study saying that early career women, so women in their 20s, are more likely to face ageism compared to young men. And that what it essentially says is that young early career women in the workforce are more likely to face ageism compared to young men, with nearly 50% of women under 30 in the workforce saying their age has negatively impacted their work. I don't know if this is true or not. I would guess that there is a bias against young women, and there is a stereotype and a prejudice that young women are ditzy or spacey or not to be taken seriously or just want to get drunk and hook up all the time, and that maybe young men aren't subject to. I actually think there's ageism on both sides of the spectrum. I think that older people in offices. Like my mother just watched The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. Mm-hmm. She was like, you really should watch this. I was like, I can't watch anything about work. But I do think it probably hits on both ends of the spectrum. I think women in general in history have faced more stereotypes than men and more prejudice, obviously. But I also think it probably depends on industry and person and management team, and that anybody who wants to be taken seriously at work, I think, can find a job and a sector and a person to work for who takes them seriously and helps to grow them.
Now work.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I would love to introduce myself. My name is Summer Nelson. I am a rising senior at UCLA, and I'm a content and social intern at Food 52.
Is this your first internship?
No, I've had a variety out in LA.
Okay.
But I work with Barstool and do like their UCLA socials. I've also interned at TMZ. I work at UCLA Student Media as like an intern.
Okay.
And
your parents were okay with you coming to New York City for the summer?
Yeah, I'm from Maryland originally, and actually was here last summer, so it's my second summer out in Soho.
And so you're a viceroy?
Yes, exactly.
Do they call girls still viceroys? You're part of the viceroy program.
You're a viceroy if you're with like the Barstool itself, and then it's something different if you're with chicks, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Or it might be...
No, it's all the same.
Okay.
I think we call them like chick viceroys, which is probably a terrible thing to say. Okay, and so now you have an internship with Food 52.
Yes.
Do you like it?
I love it, and I also post it on TikTok, and I'm always like, I'm baking a cake today on my internship.
Okay.
Like, it's always fun, and it's like a great work environment. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you? So you're clearly Summer's a woman who has many internships, who wear a lot of different hats. How do you approach? Why do you want to have internships, and what do you try to get out of them?
I think in this day and age, it's a really important thing to have like workplace experience. Like anybody I think can be experienced like over LinkedIn, but really being able to show that you can like be in the workplace and have these professional experiences is like, in my opinion, the only way to be able to like land a good job post-grad. And I think that's changed a lot over the years. So being able to like get in the workplace the younger you are as the years go on, I think is super important. So,
and do you feel like burnt out or stressed with the schoolwork and doing all this? Like, how do
like
do you use the word burnout? It's a big topic here. You do?
You can do burnout for sure. I think like as you manage all these things, it's definitely like possible, but I think I just have this like fire to work a lot. Like I love working.
Okay.
And so I do like managing a lot of things at the same time. But like when I was at TMZ, my work day was from like 6 a.m. to like 4 p.m. Only 2 days a week, but like doing school at the same time, that's tough, you know?
Yeah, that's hard.
But I like the grind. I always
and how did you, that's great. How did you, why 6 a.m.? Oh, because you were on East Coast time.
Exactly.
Okay. And how do you balance like a social life or your dating life and a party life and a work life? Like, how do you do that?
People ask a lot, actually, and that's why UCLA is honestly a perfect place for me, because it's so work hard, play hard that like my friends are very motivating. Okay. And I think I found great people there. Shout out to all my friends. I love them. That they are also very driven and like motivated, whether they're pre-med, whether they're also in a communications major.
Like all the girls are like in it to win it. Okay. And are the guys in it to win it or no?
A little less so. The ones in banking for sure, but I think the girls definitely have their head on straight there. And
that's so interesting. Yeah. So like do you date guys?
I mean, yeah. Okay. I try, but I am single. So.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, maybe somebody. So, but like, do you when you start? You have to ask now, Jessica Rose. You do. I'm like, I asked someone. I went to dinner the other night, and I was sitting next to a person who was gay. And I was sitting across from someone, I had no idea, and I really could care less, but I was like, is your partner because everybody calls everybody a partner at this point. So I'm like, what is your partner? And they were like,
about that.
What?
I could go on forever about that topic.
Did I do something wrong?
Have like co-opted partner.
I did not partner. I have not co-opted anything from anybody. I just want to be super clear. Do you say partner?
I would not say partner.
Same.
See, I assume when someone says partner that like you're not in a heterosexual relationship.
Same.
Yeah. But I do agree on TikTok. Sometimes it like throws me off when they say that.
But I think everybody says partner now because they think it's PC.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yay or nay, Jessica Rose.
No,
yay. But you're like, bitch, that's our term or what?
It's so like, I do the same thing where I'm like, if you're saying partner, I'm assuming you're not straight. Like that's just my immediate. And then it's like, so as I think especially like women in the workplace will do that a lot, where they'll refer to their boyfriend as their partner, and like it's always the most like genderqueer looking girl. So you're like already assuming
Jessica Rose.
I don't care. Any
my God.
they'll tell you exactly the same thing. Like it's always a girl that like looks like she would be a lesbian or like queer in general.
I'm glad you're saying all this and not.
I was gonna say, I feel like if I said these things, it would not be okay.
How are we gonna? Can we hear her?
We can hear
this?
her. We can hear her, but we can't see her. But
That's too
everybody
bad.
knows.
But okay.
I don't care.
Oh, I don't care either. But I find that more guys say it than girls.
I think it's because as somebody who has like in my head, I'm always like, oh, like should I say girlfriend or partner or what? It's because I just don't want to. It's a PC culture thing. It's just like I want to be making sure it's become part of the vernacular where it's like it's safe. You know, it's safe.
Yeah, you're not going to offend anybody with the partner thing.
Yeah.
Why? Because are you supposed to think that women would not want to be called a girlfriend?
I think so. There's part of my like thought process of being like, I don't know. In the last 5 years, so much has changed. Where it's like, oh, like, how do you refer to your? Again, I was going to say partner, like, but like your girlfriend. It's just like.
Would you care if somebody called you a girlfriend, Summer?
No, I think
I like
from
that. I
my
think
point
it's
of view,
cute.
that's normal. I think. Yeah.
I love when women say that I have a wife. It's my favorite thing ever. I think it's the cutest thing ever. I love that. Anyways, all right, whatever. Who cares? So back to you. Okay, so I think what's great about one, I think that's awesome. I love to work in college, and I think if you have the fire to work, it's awesome. And you obviously will be so successful because you know how to work.
Thank you. Let's hope.
You will. When I was your age, the internships were unpaid. So it was like you were allowed to have unpaid internships, which is really quite bananas. Like it was tough to break in because you couldn't, if you had to work, and if you needed money, you had to choose waitressing or you had to choose a job that would pay versus a job that could further your quote unquote career. So I think that mandating that interns get paid is a good thing.
I agree. I worked in a restaurant when I was 15.
Yeah.
And for a few years, and then even was getting internships in LA, and like especially the creative spaces tend to obviously pay like lower than like banking and stuff like that. And it was tough to honestly leave those jobs where I'm not like furthering my career necessarily, but like being a self-sufficient college student, like you do need the money too, you know, so it's hard to make the trade-off.
Totally. I used to have internships and then I would like go waitress all night because I was like, I need to make money, but I want the experience. And I actually think doing both was like a good life lesson for me.
Definitely.
All right. What else do I need to ask Summer?
I don't know. Maybe Summer, if you want to tell her the book story.
Oh, I knew he was going to bring this up. Okay, so I told Sarthik this. We have been going on these home tours together where we have like 2.5 hours in this Uber upstate, and we've gone into like every topic ever. So I was like, oh, like, have you read Erika's book? Like,
what did Sarthik say?
Have you read Erika's book?
I did.
I said I spark noted. That's what I told you.
Honestly, I don't
Sarthik's
remember.
like, fuck no. Why would I read that trash?
I'm not a reader. I'm a very visual audio person.
Yeah.
Okay, so Summer asked Sarthik, had you read my book? Had you read my book?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's great. What'd you think?
Recently read it, but there's a funny story behind it.
Oh,
so
all right.
This is the story I told him. I was like, I've actually known who you are for a long time because I'm very inspired by you, girl boss.
Oh, that's nice.
And have been like
I don't wanna
involved
be
with
girl boss,
Barstool.
so.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's not on you.
With Barstool for like a while. So I saw when you wrote your book and you posted on your Instagram story, you did these book chains.
Oh, are you part of the book chain?
So I tried to be part of the book chain. So I ordered the book like through like the form, like DM'd you and everything. And then it came to my sorority house when I was a junior in college, moving out, missed the shipment. So I was in Maryland, from Maryland. The book is in LA. I have someone ship the book from LA to Maryland, but at this point, I've already moved to New York for the summer. And so I keep playing like musical chairs with this book. And then literally like when we got in communication about this internship, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, like, remember that book laying around? Like, have you seen it in a long time? Because it was like in my house since the summer. And she was like, no, like that's probably a lost cause. It's probably, yeah. And then I'm actually moving right now at home. And like 2 weeks after we first got in communication, she sent me a photo and she's like, you're never going to guess what I just found. Oh. And it was the book. So honestly, I did ruin the book chain. I hate to admit it, but I've had it for a long time and finally
that
never
was
get
like
it.
Fate. That's amazing. That book chain, oh my God. So the book chain, so Devin and I put together the book chain, Devin from Barstool, and we had like 500 people signed up for the book chain. And I remember being in my kitchen on a Saturday morning and I had like 50 copies of the book, and I went to the post office with 50. I hand drew every envelope. I like printed all the stuff out. I went to Kinko's and Staples. I did like the whole thing. Sent it all out. It was a little bit stressful, and all the book chains got broken. Like the most DMs I got were not people who read the book. It was like, where's my book? Where's my book? I'm on chain 17, and nobody ever sent it. So,
because in the first slide, I have the book here actually with me, and it says like, oh, like to from Erika and stuff.
Oh, that's so fun.
But I never got to pass it on. So.
Oh, well, what did you think about it?
The book? Mm-hmm. I thought it was great. And
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. And I loved how it was so colloquial and kind of easier to break down.
Yeah, it's like spoken like a human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like I was talking to you.
Oh,
that was
fun.
great.
You should try it, Sarthik.
I'll take the book chain.
Yeah.
Well, you can be the first one to it on the audio.
Yes, I will do
Which
that.
is annoying though. Like I would get if I worked with me, I would not want to have my voice and like
Trust me,
it's like zero chance of listening to that.
It's in my head.
Like I already got your
voice. Don't worry about it.
That's why he's always wearing AirPods, right?
And what do you guys think about the home tours?
Oh, so I love the home tours.
Home tours are awesome.
Poor Sarthik, I've barely worked in production, just like slightly as a PA a few times. So I don't know exactly that much about like a physical, like high tech camera. I'm much more of like an iPhone girl.
Yeah.
And so he's dealing with all this like high tech production stuff. And I'm like, any way I can help you, please, I will.
Oh, you were very helpful.
That's great.
But the homes are beautiful, and it's so cool to see. Honestly, the way he interviews, I was like super inspired, and he'll say it's not that great, but it is really great. And it was so cool to see like how he can manage literally every aspect of that production. So I'm really excited to see the ones that I've been like on the shoot for launch.
That's so great.
It was awesome.
Did you go to the ones in Connecticut?
Mm-hmm. One in Connecticut, one in New York.
Did you go to Nikki's house?
No, that was Caitlin and I.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nikki was, I think we went to Anna, and the second one was, the one up where we got lost in the Uber.
Where was that one? Stanford?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Millbrook.
Millbrook. I've never been there. I don't even know what that is.
They were both awesome and really beautiful out home. So cool.
When do you go back to school?
Not till like September 22nd.
Oh, really? How long are you staying with us for?
Well, only till August 31st because New York leases are not cheap.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
great.
I know.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was great.
Now work.
All right, we're doing our teaching segment. I saw something on LinkedIn the other day called the Charisma Wheel, and I really liked it, so I wanted to share it as part of our teaching segment. So what the Charisma Wheel does, and we'll show it here, is it has, about 9 things in it, which helps you have presence and helps you connect with other people. And I think regardless of how smart you are, how senior you are, how accomplished you are, how many people report to you, how long you've been in your job, if you can harness your own charisma and create a connection with other people, you can be really successful. I often marvel at work. I saw something on Instagram the other day that's like, the longer you work, the more you think people are idiots? I 100 million % think that's true. But the other thing that I always come back to is, it's always the basic stuff that people miss, which is connection and communication. So the Charisma Wheel looks at 10 things. First is using people's names. So if you want to create a sense of presence, if you want to create a sense of connection, remember the person's name, right? Just say their name, remember their name, use their name. Sounds stupid, it's not. The second is to mirror body language. So I don't know if anybody's seen this, but if someone's meeting with you and they're crossing their legs, if you cross their legs and mirror how that person is facing you and presenting themselves to you, it creates more affinity between you and that person. Ask real questions. So I think one of the things, whether you're interviewing for a job, whether you're advocating for yourself, whether you're trying to make a point, having substantive things to say always matters. Whenever I try to go into a conversation where I have to get something done, I always write it down beforehand. I think anybody who knows me knows that I never say more than 3 things, but I always try to say the 3 things in different ways and in different combinations to make the same point. And I always, always, always try to have the things have substance. And substance is defined by the person and means something a little bit different to everybody, but making sure that you are making value out of a person's time and making sure that when you have something to say, that something is worthwhile is super important. I had a PLL board meeting yesterday, and there's a lot of people talking about this, that, and I was like, God, I haven't said one thing in this entire board meeting. And then I was starting to feel like a little bit badly, like, ooh, like, am I offering value? And then what I realized is I'm like, no, when I say something, I want it to have purpose and I want it to have substance and I want it to have meaning. And it's not worth saying something if it doesn't take the conversation further or if it doesn't forward the progression of the conversation or the meaning of the meeting overall. Speak more slowly. So slow talking, I struggle with slow talking. But by not rushing through your words, it can help people understand them. And by choosing your words thoughtfully, that can have a huge, huge meaning. So use people's names, mirror their language, ask real questions, speak more slowly. Don't fill up the silence. So own your pauses is the next one, which is don't fill the void. Let there be an uncomfortable silence. Let there be a break. Let there be a moment and a gap so that someone else can jump in with what they have to say. I think this is one that's taken me a long time to learn, but it always, always, always works, which is say less. Tell a short story, be relatable, be meaningful, create an analogy, be human in the conversation. Match people's energy. If someone is coming to you high energy, be high energy. If someone's coming to you in soft or quiet energy, be thoughtful and soft in your own energy. I'm the least bought into this one. I think you have to have your own energy. I also think sometimes when people come into a conversation really hot or angry or crazy, that you being calm and centered can actually be a better way to have that conversation. But in general, I think charismatic people have energy and charisma and passion. And if you can meet and match that, it will give you more presence with those people. Adjust your posture is the next one. So making sure, I saw something else the other day of if you're public speaking, if you're trying to convey a big point, like plant your feet and have something to say. I think dancing around and fidgeting around is distracting. I remember I gave this huge presentation at Yahoo. It was like the first sales conference I'd ever been a part of. And I was nervous. I was very, very, very nervous. And I moved, like I kept pacing when I was talking instead of planting. And I remember going to talk to the CEO after, and she just like blasted me for pacing. And I was like, it made me feel so small and insignificant. But it was a good reminder that if you can plant and hold steady, your words can carry more meaning. Compliment the details, pay attention to the details and compliment them. Smile genuinely and with warmth. And that's it. So those are the 10 things. Do with it what you will.
Now work.
All right, Strategery. All right, we're back to Strategery. We are choosing burnout as our Strategery word today. Okay. We are agreeing that burnout is maybe an old word, but it's an old word that has taken on new meaning with a vengeance. So burnout in a work context refers to a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged or excessive stress. It's characterized by feelings of cynicism, detachment, and reduced professional efficacy. Burnout is considered an occupational phenomenon, specifically as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed. All right, so my 2 cents on this is what I just described is real. I'm not sure burnout is real if you haven't been in the workforce for more than, 10, 12, 24, 36 months. And 2, if you've decided as a result of it, you have to take to your bed from that 10, 12, 36, 48 months. So I think burnout is one of those words that's going to get thrown around a lot, which is really dangerous because, one, I do think there are people who are burnt out. I do think there are people who are in workplaces that are chronically stressful. And I do think that that level of stress can have a very negative impact on your psyche and a very negative impact on your health. I think the problem here is that burnout is going to be Kleenexed. Like, everybody's going to use the word burnout when they've had a rough week or their boss yells at them or they're hungover on a Thursday. Like, the burnout word kind of becomes a catch-all for being dissatisfied and tired, when in reality, it's actually a pretty serious situation. So that's my advice would be to not use the burnout word unless you are in fact burnt out. If you are burnt out, you should talk to somebody like a professional or someone in healthcare or a doctor. And I think if you are just feeling unfulfilled, unsatisfied, and hi, oh, you look pretty today. If you're just feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied or stressed and tired, I think in a lot of ways, those things are very solvable, and you either have to solve things within yourself or you've got to solve where you work.
Now work.
All right, so not measuring yourself by an old yardstick, big topic in my head right now. I also, Danielle from our Work Like a Girl advisory board had a great thought today that she shared, that she and her partner always share, which she said, if not this, then something better. And I think my parting thought today, beyond don't measure yourself by somebody else's yardstick or your old yardstick, is that if you're in a tough spot and if you're not happy with where you are, or you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you're in a situation that isn't good, there is always something better. And I think it's good to keep in mind, because I think a lot of us default to, if this is bad, whatever else is out there has to be worse, or it's going to be worse. And the reality is that's most often not true. And that I wrote about this in Nobody Cares, is that most people are optimists and you're going to say it worked out anyways. So I really loved both of those things, which is the constant reminder to be good to yourself and to set new standards and accept where you are and where you want to go. And then the second piece is that if it's not going great, or you are struggling, or things are hard, that if you don't want to do this, you can go do something better. If this doesn't work out, there's something else out there. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you back here next week. Give us a rating or give us a review. Go to Work Like a Girl Slack if you haven't. And we have a big event coming up on August 5th with Schoolhouse, which I think is sold out, but we will do another one called At Home at Work. And we will see you back here next week.